We're loaded in. We're loaded into game number one. You can see it is Expedition Lost. And in the top right position, we have the red Zerg player representing Team Dead Pixels. Give it up for True. His opponent in the southwest position. Coming here representing Invasion Esports, the blue Terran, he is Gumiho.
I guess the crowd has a favorite here in Athenius. They've been sold as well.
My Terran bias had to kick in at some point in this tournament. Now we're ready. We have the representative.
Yeah, Terran bias, but the analysis though, this was your predicted veto. Maybe I should take over the analysis in this series, Nate.
The thing is, this is a map where you can kind of get if you take, depending on the style that you want to play, like you can play bio and eliminate most of the problems with this map, assuming that the Zerg player is being aggressive. Because the biggest issue with Expedition Lost for Terran against Zerg is if the game goes long, the Zerg, much like an Overgrowth, can have the back corner as their fourth base. And it becomes very difficult to push that because as the Zerg spreads the creep and takes the watchtower, you're forced into a funnel, and then the Zerg can go for a lot of counterattacks. If True is aggressive, that's not really an issue because we're not looking at a super long game. It's more like how does Gumiho handle it? And this, for that reason alone, makes me think it's not a bad map for Gumiho to play with a bio opening or a bio build. And just based on the way that he set himself up, this is a very Gumiho-esque style. It's not going to be a Reaper. This map doesn't really favor Reaper. Something that Gumiho does a lot of, maybe, and he still technically could get a Reaper. I guess he has the resources for it. Don't want to completely count it out, but he's the kind of guy that'll open up with Marines and then go for a quick reactor. But he likes a lot of early Marine play. Doesn't like to leave himself too exposed. He could rush straight up to factory.
You mean compared to other Terrans, right?
Yeah, compared to other Terrans. He's like that kind of guy that plays around with this a bit more. One of the builds I really liked that he used to do would just be straight 2 Marines into a reactor. He'd get a lot of Marines early on. It was very difficult to kill him with anything like fast roaches or speedling because he'd have a full bunker, whereas most Terrans don't have that at the start of the game. True choosing to open up with a pretty quick gas. He can move into speed at a decent time. But I'm mostly interested to know if True gets aggressive, how does he do it? Because he's obviously not gone for the proxy on this map, which you know happens against Terran and Protoss as well. So we're kind of in the same realm of build orders right now.
So being a Terran yourself, you talked a lot about how you think Gumiho should go into this match and play like. But as far as you know, True here goes up against Gumiho, what's one of the good ways that he can play that will do well against a Terran like that?
I mean, really, the most important thing for True, and this is what makes Gumiho such a weapon, is knowing what he's doing.
Yeah.
If he had an Overlord Scout, for example, go to his base, you know, in the very beginning of the game, if he were to go to the main base ramp, as this Reaper starts to do a little bit of poking at these Zerglings and these drones, he didn't even wall off his main going down to the natural. Like, he built his first 2 supply depots behind his mineral line. His Overlord wouldn't have seen anything at the ramp and could have made him feel, you know, like there was a possibility of something crazy. And this is why most Terrans don't like to open Reaper on this map, because it's hard to get away. But you can't really escape now. There's only one way out.
Yeah. To me, Gumiho is a Terran that's, you know, Heart of the Swarm is basically a game that was made for this guy to play. He loves to harass and macro at the same time very well. In, you know, Terran, they get Reapers, they get Medivacs, they get Bio. And this guy, it really feels like when he gets in that comfort zone, when he's on 3 bases, he gets to drop here and there, and he doesn't get shut down.
I'm really surprised.
He's going to be able to do well.
Really surprised he escaped with that Reaper.
Yeah.
That's it's a true accomplishment. Most of the time, Terran players are willing to throw that Reaper away since they know it's difficult to get out. But Gumiho has always been an innovator in matchups. One of my favorite games that I recall of him was actually, I believe, at DreamHack Summer 2013 when he played against Jaedong in the top 8, and he played a really sick game on Whirlwind. He wasn't able to win it, but he had like a pretty cool way of dealing with the Swarm hosts way before, you know, the Swarm hosts turtle styles were like a big thing, and that was one of the reasons why I became a pretty big fan of him. True going for a lair on 2 bases is pretty standard. It's a very straight up way of opening. It'll deal with a lot of aggressive plays if you can get up to Spire Tech. And this is the moment that Gumiho wants to exploit. This move out, this is something that Gumiho does though. He does this in a lot of his games.
There is no units on the way here for True. It's only drones. He's getting 1 Spinecrawler up the ramp, but there's quite a few units here for Gumiho. He might try to go for some drones. True supply blocked, and he never started any links before that. It's going to be 2 Queens plus the drones.
Yeah, Gumiho loves to make these plays. That Spinecrawler not being done. He knows that he's going up to a fast hive. That's what the Reaper told him, and now he comes up. He's already roasted a few drones. 5 down now. He might even pick off this Queen. It's very, very low on health. The Hellion is still kind of chasing it around and could actually finish it off on its own and expose the rest of the drones. Another Hellion runs in. 9 drones have died. They're all lined up. 12. And Gumiho already with a pretty solid start. honestly, it feels like a little bit of a bop there. He has
Yeah.
the medevac follow-up. He can drop the Hellions in the main. He can just, maybe even just using the bypass, the spine crawler.
He's going to get a pulled Viking, man, to go for some Overlord here as well.
Yeah.
He's not about to stop anytime soon. And it feels like True needs to drone too. He
Yeah.
can't go for lanes here.
And
He
with
needs
the-
to be droning back up, but he's going to get hit by this, and he's going to get hit hard.
Think about what this does to your build, Todd. He rushed a lair. He has nothing to show for it. There's not even a Spire on the way. The Hellions
Even the
come in.
Queen.
He's going to focus down the weakened Queen, picks up the weakened Hellion, and guess what? What has True really seen in this game? A bunch of Hellions, some medevacs. Okay, he moved out with the only Marines that he had, and he's just pressuring him with Hellions, so he's still not actually 100% sure. I don't believe an Overlord has gone through the base to see that he does have a tech lab researching Stim. Gumiho will follow this up with Bio, but True has nothing to show at all for what he invested his resources
He
in.
didn't start the Spire or anything.
No, he can't afford to because he needs to rebuild all his drones.
And Queens too.
Yeah.
Not quite the start True had hoped for here. Is it going to be like this the rest of the game, or even maybe the series here? This is not looking good at all here for True, who's made a lot of Zerglings, but
The wall, I mean, the wall is open a little bit. He's going
Yeah.
to try to block it with the Marines and Hellions. He's got the medevac coming back too. Just now the Spire is starting. The lair started at 6 minutes, so the Spire should be, in a normal game where this doesn't happen and you start the Spire as soon as the lair is done, you're pretty much starting your Mutalisks now. You're getting ready to move into those Mutas at this point, but he has to wait so long.
What do you
He
think?
doesn't have a third base either.
yeah, with the damage that he's done here, Gumiho, what do you think about the argument for keeping those Hellions alive against sacrificing them to try and get even more drones?
I think because he wants to go into Bio, the whole idea is to keep forcing him to build Zerglings, whether it's by killing drones and forcing him to build defensively or just killing the Lings that are out on the map. Because he has that medevac and because the Spire is so late, it's always going to be a consistent threat for him. He can't defend with just a Spine Crawler and Queens because he'll always be outmaneuvered by those forces.
Double eBay is going down here, by the way, for Gumiho.
Yeah. I really like, if you're ever able to do early damage versus a Zerg player and you have one of these flexible builds like Gumiho's gone for, with the Star Pour, he could have always just taken the rest of the gas after he got that third command center, but he realized that he's in a position where if he does a little bit more damage, once Stim finishes, he can put together almost unstoppable attack, because while the Spire is about to finish and we'll have about 8 or so mutas, there's no evolution chambers, he doesn't have the third base done yet, and he certainly doesn't have any spare drones to throw over to the third base. So realistically speaking, True's only chance at this game is if his Mutalisk can come in and make a couple of key pickoffs, but Stim is already done, so he can't deny him the most important upgrade in the game at this point.
Getting turrets here as well. Gumiho, that is. That base is pretty beautiful. Oh, he's going to go for the gold.
Well,
I guess he can
okay.
afford to. He's ahead enough.
Gumiho's feeling very comfortable in this game. I definitely was not expecting him to go for that.
True is broke, man. 44 drones against 52 SCVs. He's still going for double Evo somehow, droning up here quite a bit.
And
Needs
he
to be
knows where all the
careful.
mutas are. He pulls them over. He's already killing
Oh
them
my
with his
God.
Marines.
True,
Really?
you need to pull back, man. Wait for the Banelings to finally engage into this. The Vikings pretty angry, man. It's in there.
I mean, just the start of this game, True seemed all ready to rumble and then kind of just tripped and fell over with that very, very first Marine Hellion push. He kills the drones trying to transfer, and he might just kill him here, Todd. Does he even have, there's not that many Banelings. Baneling speed isn't ready yet either.
Yeah, he's got a bunch. Gumiho's gonna pull back. He's gonna make sure he fights off creep, and those Banelings don't even get the big connections. This is gonna be it here. Gumiho just crushes through True here in the first game.
He does let those Banelings get some pretty big hits, and a few more are going to finish up. I think a little bit of mismanagement. Gumiho might have been looking back home to macro a little bit or something like that.
Yeah.
He did plant the third command center down in the gold, but he still got more than enough to eventually push through this later on. The third base is done. These two Mutalisks are having a pretty hard time killing that Hellbat.
That Viking was there for so long.
The hero Viking.
Finally fell, but at this point, I mean, True, 48 drones to 54 SCVs with the gold base in the middle of the map. Look at the trail of units.
Yeah.
Just rejoining this force, this never-ending force.
Yeah, this first game has just been a stomp. He's stimming Marines halfway across the map just to get them here faster. The drones are going to be pulled off in natural. True trying to defend against this, but without Banelings, you are not going to kill Stim Marines, Todd. It doesn't happen. He's going to pick off every last worker in this base. The Mutalisks giving their last death throws, and GG is called. Gumiho will take game number 1.
That was impressive, man.
Dude, Gumiho
That was impressive. His base was beautiful too. Like, the way he played the micro, everything, the macro, the way he built his base.
It's almost too good, really.
Yeah, very clean.
I've seen Gumiho many a time, and I was kind of expecting this sort of opening from him without the Reaper, where he would usually just go for 2 Marines, get the reactor, and then start his factory as the reactor's finishing and like go for a big Marine push early on. It's something that he does a lot because against Zerg players, and a good number of them these days will go for fast Mutalisks off 2 bases. They don't have either Zergling speed or a lot of Zerglings out on the map, which allows you to push out and kill Overlords with only a couple of Hellions to support you. And in this particular instance, Gumiho was just like, your spine's not done. Like, okay.
It really feels like that's what he was trying to punish.
Yeah,
you mentioned the Marines that he makes early on, not just to be safe, but even like he moved out with like what, 4 Marines. He had some units rejoining this army, and the initial drones that he got.
Yeah. If you just the best way to compare it is if you look at any other Terran, it's you get the Reaper, then the reactor, your factory, and you swap them. Gumiho keeps that reactor on the barracks because he knows that if True does any sort of aggressive push with roaches or banelings, he will actually have the production necessary to fill 2 or 3 bunkers, still get trickle out a couple of Hellions behind, but he won't die to any all-ins. It's one of the best parts about the way that Gumiho plays. And most of these.
How do you adjust to this? In StarCraft, every build has a counter. So now, if True realizes exactly what happened here and thinks that Gumiho is going to do the same, what does he do better to hold on the first attack?
Honestly, I think just a straight-up regular opening with a good number of queens probably would have done the trick. But to open up with fast Mutalisks, you cut the investment into things like early banelings, like early speedlings. You don't have the evolution chambers, and you actually end up cutting queens occasionally as well. But Gumiho just kind of bopped him there. Is really the feeling that I got. And I'm more surprised that we go from Expedition Lost to Cactus Valley for game number 2, guys. We're loaded in the bottom right position. The red Zerg player down 0-1 in this best of 5. Give it up for Dead Pixels, True. Actually really surprised by the maps now. Very interesting. I'd love to know what map this guy vetoed. In the top left position, spawning as the blue Terran representing Invasion Esports, he is Gumiho.
Playing with some sort of little handkerchief. Something on his hands.
Gumiho plays with sweaty hands, Sometimes it happens.
Do you have sweaty hands, Nate?
Yeah. And Gumiho's an inspiration to all of us Terrans that, I would say it comes from being worried about all-ins for me, but this guy doesn't seem to be worried about that at all. I'm actually, it's still going through my head now. I'm really wondering what he would have vetoed, because I imagine that True probably vetoes, if there's only one veto for a best of 5, probably Infernal Pools. So maybe Gumiho vetoed Iron Fortress. I don't particularly like it either versus Zerg. Really good for backstab attacks with speedlings. But this season has made the vetoes kind of interesting because Cactus Valley, if we just look at the way that this map is laid out, right? Whether or not you want to play mech or bio, the third base opens up a lot of issues. If we compare it to any other map where you have a reasonable choke, the amount of depots it would take, just hypothetically speaking, if you want to block it off, you are investing 1,000 minerals into building a wall.
Does the fact that it's cross map make it very favorable for Zerg? I remember hearing a lot of stuff like this, where
it's sort of the same situation as when you're playing cross spawn and any of the other big maps that were in the pool. If you're a Terran player that wants to reinforce, it takes a long time. So he's going to squeeze out some Marines. The Reaper will get in here, and if he clicks on that extractor, he'll know it's okay. He definitely has the gas for speed. I will say, since he went pool first, it's still actually not a crazy fast speed. This is not going to be hitting at all-in level timing. So Gumiho should be in more than a comfortable enough position to deal with Lynx. The real question is, when this Reaper leaves, when True feels that the Reaper will not be able to come in and get a follow-up scout, is he going to go back on gas and throw up something like a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren? Those are the big questions, because guess what? He's still mining a little bit of gas.
A double Reaper, man. This is pretty cool to see this.
Well, I
almost never see this.
Well, this is the part where I would normally, after the game is over, tweet out, hey guys, this is something that seems like a pretty cool thing to study, because I don't see this terribly often, Todd.
It feels like it's cool to study and try and reproduce, but it feels like the thing also that will go really bad when you try that.
When you yeah, exactly. When you mess this up, it probably blows up in your face really big. 3 Reapers is never bad because the only thing that hurts Gumiho in this instance is that it delays his factory, but he doesn't seem concerned about speedling all in, which is what you would mostly need the Hellions for. Otherwise, the Marines and Reapers in bunkers can deal pretty well with anything else. It's just Gumiho being Gumiho, doing weird stuff so that we can all learn.
Open your notebook and take notes, man.
Whoa. He's going to 5 Reapers, Todd.
Well, so far, this could still be more, but by the look of things, he should be swapping, that factory for that barracks. The thing is, he knows that True probably wants to drone pretty hard here. Actually, if he gets surrounded here or loses one of those Reapers, he's going to lose at least one. Little bit sloppy. And so far, no damage done early on by Gumiho. That's the first.
How much success do you think someone must have to do something like this in in this big of a game? Maybe because he's ahead. He's taken the rest of his gases, by the way. So because he hasn't started anything like Stim yet or engineering base, I'm imagining this will be a mech follow-up of some kind. He could just throw on 2 E-bays now, I guess, and a starport, but
definitely a good map for it.
Little bit inefficient. I think both Bio and Mech are really solid choices on this map. Mech especially. If you break down the rocks at the 3rd base, it's so easy to just funnel everything into that front point. But no, he's going to start extra barracks. He's not going to take any.
It's probably the easiest
chances.
map in regards to that, to do that, no?
Yeah, if you can get away with it. Like for the Zerg player, their goal will always be to slow it on your 3rd base.
2 more barracks and Steam Pack, though.
Yeah, he's gonna. I think Gumiho just probably just feels comfortable doing it out of this because of the way that his Hellions were delayed. So he's like, well, I can't really build up a lot of Hellions. That means I can't go fast Banshees because I delayed my factory. So let's just play around with the barracks units. He's got to be feeling very comfortable in this series, and playing Bio will give him the biggest opportunity to win the game as soon as he has a decisive edge.
Where's the Spire, Nate? It's only links being made right now. He has a Baneling Nest as well. True is added on one more extractor, which is, okay, he's going to start mining from it now.
True's playing a lot more straight up relative to their games. He got a normally timed Baneling Nest. The lair's still reasonably quick.
He made so many links. Look at this. Links across the map. Is he going to morph in some Banelings and go for an attack here?
It's possible that what True wants to do.
Oh, it was open. Oh my God.
Does he realize there's no depots there?
I don't think he realizes. He would have gone for it otherwise. Even those units like...
I mean, if you see this,
sees it.
True.
There is so many links. If he gets in there, surrounds this army, even morphs in some Banelings right there.
Wow, this
True.
is super sloppy by Gumiho. He still has a lot of Marines back here to fight against the Lings, but he really can't afford to be surrounded at this point. He's getting
Not only more
SCVs.
Lings are coming in, but he's even producing 10 more right now. He's going to go and get a full surround on these Marines. The SCVs are being pulled in the natural. They're going to start dying left and right. Already 8 of them going down, 20 more Zerglings here on the way for True. He needs to do more damage.
I really don't understand why Gumiho didn't finish his wall. That's very interesting question.
I mean, he's been doing so well. Maybe he's, starting to lay back a little bit, take it easy.
He was really caught off guard by that. I don't think that was... It's just kind of weird for me, but...
With his economy being weakened so much now, too, it's going to be so annoying to have to make turrets against the Mutas that are going to be made soon. 12 more drones here for True, who feels very confident. Remember, he invested a lot into this here, True. He made a lot of Zerglings.
It slows things down a lot. Like, Gumiho will have his 1-1 ahead, but because of all of the things that you mentioned, he needs to invest resources into the add-ons.
Yeah.
He goes for the armory. But Todd, he hasn't started the missile turrets yet, which is still another big part of this. This is one of those maps where it's actually really nice what you can do with Mutalisks. The refineries and the main base are actually exposed if you put a missile turret just in the mineral line. So he's going to build 2 turrets to complement that. Then his add-ons are still exposed, so another turret. And the same holds true for the mineral line and the gas on the natural. So you do actually need 2 missile turrets here to cover most of this. And if the Mutas dive on him, it's actually hard to get the SCVs around the refinery to repair.
What do you think about the lack of Baneling speed so far? Like I guess he didn't have to start it just yet.
It's the investment into the Mutas and the fact that he also went for the quick +1 attack on the Mutalisks. He's hoping to just use Lings around the map and make the Mutalisks the playmakers so he doesn't have to worry about a big push. He's already slowed Gumiho down
He's gonna start
a lot.
It now. 14 more Lings here underway as well for True, who's on 66 drones to 44 SCVs. But Gumiho already started 2-2 though. He's doing always very well with these upgrades.
I think it
want to get a turret.
It was really nice. Like the Mutalisks came just late enough that he actually got away with delaying all the turrets for the armory and the 2-2, and I think it's a very important thing to note because he's still going to get in here and kind of mess with these. Actually, really nicely manages to combat shots. And those Mutas eat so many turret shots.
My God,
that's just unnecessary, Todd.
Can't afford to lose these here. True, he's gonna have to pull back here in a second.
How many Mutalisks did he just lose? Like how?
I think 2 or 3. Yeah, 2.
Yeah, that's. Considering the late Baneling speed, that's really tricky because now that he's killed so many, he can actually throw units, the Marines out on the drops. Every Mutalisk that he has to replace is a handful of Banelings he won't have to defend a later attack as well. And for Gumiho, he still took that big amount of damage earlier on. He's situating himself with the rest of his infrastructure, moving into the second factory, and also getting the vehicle plating. But this is a time in the game where a Terran player that's going Bio wants to make a push across the map to shut down the 4th base. The 4th base is close to completing. True has it in the northeast.
Yeah.
This is Gumiho's moment, and True very wisely realizes this, wants to go for the backstab.
Going for the counter-attack style here. I don't think there's a bunker on the third base here for Gumiho as well. Okay.
And he did break the rocks, so you know it's something. But at least the rally
he sees that
natural should cover.
Is he, what? Is he not going back?
And he's got a good amount of mines here. The rally covers it. Oh, actually, great bait on that mine. There's not a lot of SCVs, just a good number of mules.
Yeah, the mules, preventing the mules from mining there. The Banelings are going to get some connections on the SCVs, but this army is trapped here for True.
Yeah, there's nowhere to run. There's not enough mutalisks here to actually kill the command center, and Gumiho is just going to corner the forces. He still has the drop in the bottom right side. He's going to actually kill the hatchery. No cancel on the fourth base for True. Kills absolutely everything, and these mutalisks don't have any window to accomplish anything else.
And only 6 SCVs died on the third base here. As nice as it was to prevent those mules from mining, Gumiho is caught back up very nicely in terms of supply. 48 SCVs to 70 drones, but in army, man, 79 to 74 with a much earlier 2-2 for him.
This is a pretty interesting game. All things said and done, I'm really interested to see what would have happened if Gumiho hadn't thrown away a dozen or so SCVs by not building a wall at the start of it. It's very well controlled, and you know, True deciding to make that backstab attack on the third base despite the rocks being knocked down, it really hurt him. And it kind of goes to show one of the advantages on this map. If you can secure the 3 bases as Terran, Widow Mines or tanks, whether you're playing Bio or Mech, will do a great job of covering anything that tries to run between those and really do a good job of zoning out the Zerg.
Leading those Marines here a little bit, making sure one Marine is traded for one Baneling every single time. Gumiho has been impressive with the micro.
You fancy, huh, Gumiho?
I know you like those moves, Nate.
Yeah.
They get you all fired up.
Oh boy.
You think you can do them.
There's a reason I love to watch Gumiho, and it's not because I copy his plays. It's because I wish I could.
With the double factory here, he's getting Widow Mines and the Thor simultaneously. Drilling class here started as well. That's going to help a lot. And with the 3-3 on the way, does he keep on trying to move across the map and be aggressive? Usually Terrans always do that. I never understood why they don't wait maybe for it to complete.
He's just playing straight up Bio, man.
Yeah.
Like the big focus here is going to be denying creep spread.
That's a big flock of mutas, by the way.
Yeah, he's diving on this missile turret. He actually doesn't have full surface area available because it was built flush against the mineral line, but a couple Marines are going to come in to reinforce, and Gumiho holds. Here come the Banelings on the 5th base. He's spreading his Marines out. Still, most of them are remaining, and he also has quite a few mine shots left,
he's going to go for a counter-attack with another chunk of his army here. True, who needs some to defend back at home at the same time. Widow Mines are going to burrow.
The Banelings get all of them with the Widow Mines. Gumiho with a phenomenal defense. Certainly he's going to run into his mineral line, but his rally should be able to clean it up. He sweeps up the south side base. One more hatchery did finish in the northeast. True gets on 4 bases some way, somehow. Denies mining on that third of Gumiho.
He's getting up for a drop down there. How many medivacs is that? I think just 2. Okay, just 1 for now. But I wouldn't be surprised if he regrouped on the right-hand side, fully knowing that right now the 6 o'clock base was denied here from Gumiho. All he has to do is apply pressure on the 4th, do some damage, and he's going to be in a great position. Look at this, he's regrouping. He's going to use that one medivac, the infamous medivac that brings the Zerg army out of position, ideally, so that you can push across the map comfortably here as a Terran player.
Yeah, True is close to maxing, but he has to invest so many resources into defending this, and here comes the next big push.
That is a lot of Banelings.
If Gumiho knocks this base down, True is in a world of hurt. All Gumiho needs to do is take this base out. He doesn't have a 4th. Very important to note. With no 4th command center, if Gumiho loses his whole army here, True does take a game-winning position with the 4th base economy and any leftover Banelings that he may have. But Gumiho's done a really good job of rallying all of his reinforcements to the natural ramp. He's basically saying, you can't do a big run by, you can run into my 3rd base, I'll kill everything that you send, but you won't be able to slip by into my production. No lifelings in this game.
He kind of likes Widow Mines, and I think he's going to try to make up for that by just pre-splitting and hoping that True's going to engage into him. If the army of Gumiho is clumped up, he's going to get crushed here, and he's going to find himself behind, so he needs to be careful, take the fight very slowly. That turret here is going to go down. That was the only one that was there, so contaminate actually on the command center here. Really nice to use a little bit of that energy.
Yeah,
At the same time, though, does Gumiho finally trigger the attack across the map?
I mean, ideally, though...
Oh, he's spacing to go onto the 4th, and True's not ready.
Yeah, he still needs to be very careful. Most of the time, the Zergs want to bait this, but the whole army... He must have selected his whole army hotkey to go for the medevac in the bottom, and he loses the top right base because of it. His army completely out of position.
I think that hatchery died in like 0.1 second.
You can really see how stressed True is in this game.
3-3 completed now.
Flying all over the place, trying to deal with Gumiho's multi-pronged aggression as he's tucked in between the evolution chamber and the mineral line. Somehow an SCV's there. The Thors are hitting the Mutalisks. Oh my goodness. Gumiho taking some commanding fights, knocking down that 4th. And with the drop still alive, with all of the Mutalisks destroyed, Gumiho can position himself for another fight and potentially move on to a DreamHack Grand Final, Todd.
It's 137 army supply to 108 here in Gumiho's favor. He's going to move across the map. He's going to set up, to receive that army, which still has a lot of banelings, about 50 here for True. But True is now not just 3 bases. He'd like to be on 4. He's trying to retake that 4th base. Gumiho has been so patient, never really stepping on creep.
Yeah,
always staying at the very edge of it, pre-splitting. It's been impossible for True to engage into Gumiho's army, but now finally he's stepping on creep. He's confident enough, and we're gonna have the big fight happen, Nathanias.
This is gonna be True's desperate push to get him back, to keep his DreamHack hopes alive. The Banelings are moving in, the Thors up front to soak up, but so much of this army is off creep. He's starting to pre-split away from the Banelings off creep. The Mutalisks are gonna run in, soaking up every last shot. The supply dwindling for both players at this time, but the Mutalisks should be able to clean up a lot of the medevacs as they try to retreat. Widowmines are gonna burrow. Gumiho trying to hold on against the counterattack, but he's still just fighting in the center of the map.
He has a 4th base though. Gumiho already set up, but no PF, no turrets. If True was to head down there, it could do a little bit of damage. True finally with a big fight win. He's been needing this entire game.
The medevacs are the key here. Gumiho is a little bit behind in supply. Most of his active supply are actually these medevacs. But
did he make enough barracks to make up for basically not having to make medivacs right now?
I mean, by only having the 5 barracks, he's relying a lot on spending his resources on Thors and Widowmines, which we've seen be very useful in this composition, but he doesn't have to spend the money on more medevacs. He comes in to fight this again, and this is where that 4th base you mentioned, if he comes in and hits it, very important. 2 turrets to finish up. These are actually tantamount for his defense. Actually keep going to stop the Banelings on the Marines.
True's losing everything. He's committed so much to this. The Mutas dying. They are dying. And they are so important. He needs to preserve them. That 4th base is not about to go down anytime soon here for Gumiho, and all of a sudden he's going across the map. Oh wow.
Well, that's just insult to injury, Todd. By keeping the medevacs alive, he's able to invest all of his resources into remaxing on the fighting.
Look at the army supply.
And this has just been amazing for Gumiho.
87 army supply to 47. True's trying to regroup. He's trying to get some Banelings out right now. He's going to do just that. But look at the macro. He's guiding Banelings away. There is a medivac in the natural. About to drop some units here, I think. Some Widowmines. Why not?
Dealing with these this late in the game, quite annoying. Drones are going to fall down. It ain't nothing but a thing, Todd, as he's pushing into this 3rd. Once again, with no Banelings with this army, Gumiho should not be able to be stopped. Pushing forward, cleaning up the last of the Mutalisks and making his way towards the DreamHack Open Grand Finals here in France. The Mutalisks falling left and right. More Marines coming across the map. 6 more Mutalisks in production, but it will not be enough. GG! Gumiho is going to the Grand Finals here at DreamHack Open.